What about how AI machine learning is going to kind of play into real estate moving forward in relatively quick amount of time, next 5 to 10 years? Like, how is that going to affect things in your mind?
Oh, a lot. It's incredible what's happening. It's funny. I do a big conference every year in Dallas called Limitless.
Yep.
And it's this year, it's August 29th, 30th, 31st. And one of the guys that I really sought after, his name's Eric Siu, SIU.
Okay.
Incredible guy. And he owns media companies, but he's going to talk about, essentially where AI is heading, how you can use it in your own business. For us, we're seeing it in every single way. I mean, the customer wants things super easy. So in customer service, we're seeing it in virtual tools.
Oh yeah.
On all our paperwork, and we're seeing it in accounting, we're seeing it in marketing, we're seeing it, automatic. Everything's becoming automatic, and I think we're at the very, very, very beginning. And unfortunately, it's going to replace out some of those lower paying jobs.
Yeah, that's going to happen, but it's also going to create new sorts of demand in the economy. For example, I read a paper recently called situational-awareness.ai. That's where it's at. And it kind of outlines from a gentleman who was in Silicon Valley, who came out of OpenAI. It outlines, what the world's going to look like to be able to prop up and be able to support the infrastructure necessary to create these machines. And one of the things that he talked about was a massive shift in GDP spending towards building out cities of power grids, just absolute cities, concrete companies. You've got the superconductor manufacturers, any companies associated with nuclear energy, any companies associated with natural gas. The United States has huge stores of those. So there's going to be a huge infrastructure shift, it seems. And I think that's also going to affect real estate in many different parts of the United States and the country, because the government's going to have to buy up a lot of this land to put this infrastructure on as well. Yeah. Tell me about that.
You're right. No, I tell you what, people, just in the political world, they've got this Green New Deal, which everybody knows.
Sure.
I think we should be looking at all these things, but it just doesn't, the math doesn't work.
Right.
Now you're going to start to see, because of AI, these nuclear power plants, period. I mean, people are talking about, Musk is talking about it, and guess what? Bill Gates already broke ground on one in Wyoming. So it's already here. And nuclear power plants are definitely needed in order to run, because of the energy that's needed for AI.
Yes.
And so, to your point, that we're at the very beginning, but the insiders already know, and the government is going to be shifting their narrative very soon.
Quick.
Nuclear power. You watch the next 10 years. It's all going to be about nuclear power.
And it's got to be, because it's a national security thing. If China is going to be investing this sort of money in the energy infrastructure, and Russia is going to be doing it, the United States has to do it as well.
Correct.
Because if their machines, because they have more power, their machines are stronger, then that's a weakness for us. So we got to keep up. It's like a race, arms race.
You got it. That's exactly right. So they're gonna have to shift their narrative, because the whole world's doing it.
Yeah, love it. So I'm going to shift real quick here, and I like to keep these at about an hour. Okay, I think that's reasonable. So there's going to be a lot of people that listen to me here. A lot of the folks that listen to me, they're more politics related and crypto, and I give like a macro perspective of what's going on. What can regular people do, man? And what can they do to change their lives? I will say to the audience that I endorse Ken because I have gone through his programs and understand his stuff, and he's a no fluff type of guy. He cuts straight to the chase, but I don't know what sort of things you have educationally right now for regular folks to win.
Yeah. You got to step back from the whole thing. First of all, look at it from a macro standpoint.
Okay.
And I think you start there because that actually provides the direction. So, do you believe and do we believe that we're going to see a lot of inflation in the next 10 years? I would say the answer is yes to that.
Yes.
For a lot of reasons, and we go down all the crap. So we definitely have that. Do we believe that we're undersupplied with U.S. housing? The answer is unequivocally yes.
Right.
It is a math issue. You've got the population going like this and not caught up. So we're undersupplied on housing. That is a yes. And it's starting to show up already in the higher rents and the higher housing prices and stuff like that. Okay, so you have those two things. Those are going to happen. Then, do we believe that the cost of house is going to be more as a result of those things? And I still think the answer is yes. There's going to be periods of time where there'll be some softness in some areas based on construction. But if you really think about it, if you follow the Federal Reserve, they have been increasing rates, as we know. And so what happens when rates go up? People pull back. That's what the Fed wants. The Fed wants the economy to slow down.
Kill the economy. Yeah.
And so that's happened. So what did that do? That stopped the new construction of housing, not completely, but largely. And yet people are still being born. And then now you sprinkle in immigration, which is a super political issue, but it's also a housing issue. So, you can step back from it and bitch about immigration, or you can just look at it practically and say, what's going on? Well, there are cities and states that are master leasing hotels, and they're master leasing apartment buildings, and they're building housing, and they're providing money and all that kind of stuff to these immigrants. Okay. That's a population gain. Okay. So all of those things are going to happen now, and you just can't argue that. Okay. All right. So knowing that, I believe that we're going to head into a very unaffordable period of time for people. It's going to really start to show up in the next few years. You're going to start to rents go up, and the housing prices are not going to slow down anytime soon. So it's going to just shove more people from home ownership into rentals. And Brad, as you know, what's supposed to happen, like I have young kids in their 20s. They're supposed to go out of school. They're supposed to build their credit through some kind of rental somewhere, work for somebody, put some cash away, buy that first house, and then build the equity from there. That's a traditional system. We're not in that system right now. There's no affordable housing. Rates are high. And if the Fed lowers rates, it just creates another bubble. So that's the situation we're in. And so people can get angry with it, or they could say, okay, how do I benefit from that? And so for me, we've decided to buckle down, hunker down, and start to buy as much housing as we can, because there's going to be more renters. And this kind of goes back to your other point. Well, that's taking advantage. We're taking advantage of a situation that we're not in control of. It's just going to happen. And so what people can do today is they can start to look at affordability and understand that that's going to be a huge problem moving forward. And you might even be in a situation where you're going to buy things, and inflation's going to do its thing, and the government might even give you the cash to your tenant or to you to provide housing. We have a housing problem. And so, a really simple thing to do is just look for affordable housing, provide affordable housing. I think you're going to start to see this ADU, accessible dwelling unit. It's going to just spike over the next 10 years. You're going to start to see relaxed zoning for tiny homes. You're going to start to see 300, 400 square foot homes. I met with a woman the last 2 weeks ago. She's doing a 350 square foot homes up in Canada, into areas that are unaffordable. And the government's liking those because, the rents are less. And that's the opportunity. And anybody can, affordable housing is not sexy, but it's going to be where it's at for the next 10 years.